Welcome, everyone. You've got Bo and Drew here of Manafest Red. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the current Duel Commander meta, both in paper and online. Drew, how are you doing?
I'm just dandy.
Just dandy.
How we doing, Bo?
Recovering from being sick, but I'm doing well. No complaints. Got a lot of energy, invigorated.
Yes, you sure are.
So we're really going to be going over better Salk's metagame breakdown on the official Duel Commander channel, as well as Meta Mage from Blue Sky.
Which, let's also talk about, real quick that the DC RC is actually doing this meta review thing. I greatly appreciate it. This thing is super awesome, super detailed, gives insight into archetypes, play data, how they're feeling about all of this stuff, lots and lots of transparency, and something that I've been wanting for all of the formats for a long time, and this is absolutely amazing.
Everyone will say, Bo and Drew, you just glaze the RC all the time. I mean, I'm making a little bit of a straw man here, but honestly, this is something you and I have talked about a bunch. Whether it's bans or unbans, the fact that we get a very in-depth, hey, this is why we did X, Y, and Z, and then obviously seeing Salk's breakdown of the Duel Commander meta, specifically from BNR in 1 month out. So obviously it did not include MagicCon Atlanta because they were looking at anything over 40 events. So us in North America, we gotta step those rookie numbers up.
Over 40 players.
Already 40 players, yeah. And I'm sure Drew and I might have something in the not too distant future for that, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm excited. But yeah, just to finish that up, again, why can't we have this type of information from Wizards? Oh no, more transparency? Well, I'm just going to quit because they're being so transparent with us. It's just please give us that. So looking over the, I figure let's start with the MetaMage information, then we'll go over the paper information because there is some delineation. So looking at the Magic the Gathering Online meta review, we're looking at a number of trials, mostly with under 20 players. It's missing a key staple in Deadpool, and that's skewing the balance towards more Squee, more Aragorn. There's some things at play that Daybreak does not have control over. Hopefully when the Marvel set drops later in 2026, Deadpool will be on a bonus sheet and they'll be able to put it online, which would be great.
That would be neat.
Yeah, and then, sample size, it's about 500 matches, and you're having the reoccurrence of some specific players showing up again and again and again.
Sure.
Which you see, there's one particular commander that one person is just brute forcing, which I think is pretty cool. And the confidence intervals are a little bit wider. It's a smaller ecosystem. We talked about the mid-range compression without Deadpool. Squee is able to just take up more of that breathing room, and same for Aragorn. And combo kind of doesn't look like it's there as much as it is in other things. So it's interesting.
We see a little bit. I mean, over, luckily Fire Shoes posts all of this sort of stuff too. And it seems like yeah, absolutely. It seems like every single one of the Commander trials that has popped up, especially recently, has unique top fours.
Yes.
So, meta, whether it's people tinkering with things, we do see Lair a little bit, we do see aggro, we do see mid-range, we see all of these things for sure, but, definitely feeling the presence or lack thereof of Deadpool.
Yes. I think it's interesting when looking at the online meta and the paper meta is Cloud has taken a back seat. Yeah. And Thalia is way more present across the board, which I find really interesting, having only dabbled with Thalia, but I would say I've played a fair amount of Cloud at this point. And I find that really interesting in that regard. What's your take on that? You've dabbled with Thalia as well. Do you think it's just people will prefer the flash threats of Thalia? They're tired of Cloud? Cloud kind of lost its shiny new toy syndrome? What do you think that is?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I think Cloud struggles a little bit with the Squee decks. I feel that those can be a little bit more challenging. Also feels like there's been a little bit of uptick in your blue-based decks with counter spells and stuff. And so being able to play Thalia and a bunch of flash threats starts to look a lot more appealing.
Right.
but not 100%. That's just kind of assessing the meta, like looking at lists and meta and stuff. That's kind of what I'm kind of predicting for a lot of this.
I'm surprised we haven't seen more Yoshi online. We've seen some, and we've seen some different iterations with Esper, as we've talked about previously, but it's not quite the mainstay that it is online as it is in paper.
And again, I think that this is also kind of a symptom of Slimefoot. Like, these Jund removal decks just make these aggro decks so sad. Like, you just constantly remove every single threat, and it's just hard.
Yeah.
Like, Slimefoot just has so much recursion, can go over the top, can just be super grindy and whatnot. And so seeing the meta shift accordingly online a little bit towards this sort of stuff also makes sense.
Agreed. I think my big takeaway is the absence of Deadpool is creating a vacuum where Slimefoot is filling in some of that vacuum. You know, Aragorn is filling in some of that vacuum. And then I think there's just, you have specific grinders or people who are a much more preferred play style of, you know, mono white flash threats as opposed to cloud that we're seeing online.
Yeah.
That's kind of my take. So moving to the paper meta overview, it was based on global events of 40 players or greater from September 29th BNR to October 22nd. It's got a broad representation, although sadly no North American events because we did not have any.
During that time frame.
Yeah, the BNR was the day after the top 8 of the Magic Cup. So you've got 7 regions actively reporting, and then you see this on MTG Top 8, like some areas just love certain archetypes,
yes,
and build them a certain way. So,
or hate certain archetypes.
Yes, exactly. So there's a lot of mid-range right now, specifically in paper. Combo slow returning, specifically to the Czech and European area. Aggro is retooling. There's less Yoshi and Cloud. Surprisingly, there's more Zergo, which, you know, is interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand that one, but
yeah, I couldn't put my finger on that one either.
I would love to know more about that.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's regional metas that drive innovation. We've talked and touched on this previously. Like, sometimes you'll look at a list coming out of like Japan and you're like, what are they cooking over there? And similar thing here, you know, with the Philippines in particular, it looks a little bit more aggro out of Czech. It's more combo. France, it's more control and mid-rangey is what I've seen. So
yeah,
again, top performing archetypes in paper, Slimefoot and Squee, straight up there.
Yeah, Slimefoot has definitely made just a skyrocket to
Yes.
the top deck.
But Deadpool, again, the Deadpool is represented in paper, represented well in paper. It's not over the line in terms of meta share or dominance. Aragorn's still there. Thalia is there. It's overtaken Cloud in representation, both in paper and online. And then we see Asmo coming up through the ranks too. We've seen that online a little bit, but we're also seeing it in paper results too. And I can understand why Asmo was banned originally, but now at this point in time, I feel like Asmo is fine within the greater context of the meta.
Yeah, Asmo seems fine. I think some of it too is just trying to adapt to the abstract play pattern of Asmo.
Right.
And so that might have been some of that like early on type of stuff where you kind of get a little bit of the cheese. And personally, I feel like some of the graveyard interaction type stuff has kind of fallen off because there isn't too much of a big graveyard deck.
Right.
Outside of, you know, like Lier.
Yes.
And you get Slimefoot and stuff, and maybe that's also one of the contributing factors.
Maybe Superior
to why...
Spider-Man too, but like we've seen some, but not like that has not made like it's there, but it's not like, oh wow, this is taking up 4-5% of the meta share, you know what I mean?
Like people have just cut down, in my opinion, you know, on graveyard hate, and now we're starting to see some of these little decks pop up, and we start have to respect it again, just like Dredge and stuff in the past. We'll just get into these cycles.
Yep. You see Satya and Cosmic Spider-Man coming up.
Sick.
Which is interesting because Cosmic Spider-Man, you know, there's been a lot of chatter in the online space about it. I'm interested to see if Cosmic Spider-Man will remain the commander de jour of 5-color, or if it'll be Heroes in a Half Shell. And if there will be some interlacing between those two, right? So like you start out with Heroes in a Half Shell and then you commander swap to Cosmic Spider-Man because you're playing the aggro Yoshi / Zergo deck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see that. We also see notably Kefka, Tivit, Aminatou, Zergo. Again, Zergo I think is almost over-representing itself in a little ways, but I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what changed with Zergo.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like
they lost Blood Moon. Like, what's going on?
And when it comes to Kefka and Aminatou, I think these are just fun decks. Like they are still very good. They are still very like resilient and whatnot. But it's also kind of scratching that itch for a lot of players. Like they're both fun decks to play. Whether it is that mid-rangey kind of control-y gameplay of Kefka versus your reanimator plan from Aminatou. And there's some other reanimators, but I feel like Aminatou is kind of the go-to reanimator.
If you're going to be greedy, why not be completely greedy?
Yeah.
And just play a third color. Yeah. And then in terms of underperformance, again, we see Yoshi kind of taking not a nosedive, but a little bit of a bump from where we've seen it previously. Azusa, I've seen it online, and it does it's one of those decks where you mentioned Dredge. It's like it feels like one of those things where people don't respect it, and then it comes up and it does well, and then it goes back down. You know what I mean? So I find that interesting. And then we've already touched on Cloud as well. So
I bet there's a lot of people excited about a Cloud decline.
Yeah, probably some people in our local meta.
Yeah,
jokes on them. Never shelving that deck. No, I'm kidding. So like key paper takeaways, Deadpool is, I don't want to say anchoring the format, but like the whole trifecta love triangle of Cloud, Aragorn, Deadpool, I think is really well represented in paper, even with Cloud's decline. Like you could say you don't like Aragorn because the Monarch and the play patterns. You can say you don't like Deadpool because it's on a 2 of magic card. You can say you don't like Cloud because it's a tutor in the command zone. But after having had the opportunity to talk to the RC, my take on this is that all three of these decks, while powerful, are right on the line.
Yes, I agree.
And while you may not like them, I think you just have to accept them and be like, hey, it's part of the play pattern, right? So it's like, if you play a super commander-centric focus deck, watch out for Deadpool. If you play Ketramos, watch out for Deadpool. But I will say Ketramos has been on the up and ups too, looking at presence on MTG top 8. So who knows?
I'm just excited that one of the top decks and part of that trifecta type of thing is an in-universes card.
Yeah.
Slimefoot.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I genuinely do. And I just kind of want to leave it at, well, it feels like we have 1.25 meta between online and paper. And the lack of Deadpool, I wouldn't say is hurting anything, but it kind of obfuscates what the real meta is.
And I also, with the online meta, I do feel that there is also a lot of tinkering going on. They are smaller tournaments and what have you, and we definitely see a lot of top decks that are in that top 4 like display and whatnot, and I think people are experimenting a lot, especially online, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I think that,
but I think that that's what kind of skews a lot of the like online versus paper meta, because paper meta we're seeing a lot more consistent in the top 8 stuff from these bigger events, whereas online we're getting smaller sample sizes, but we're seeing
more consistently.
Yeah, and just like more unique stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. Looking ahead to November, obviously we have Avatar. Do you think that'll have, people clown on Spider-Man, and some of it's justified and rightfully so. But for Duel Commander, it had a good amount of things that were brought into the mix for Duel Commander. Do you think we will see the same level of card adoption in our format, or do you think it'll be less than Spider-Man for Avatar?
Avatar is going to be a bigger set. We'll end up having to see, but some of the cards that they've spoiled seem pretty decent already, and firebending is a hell of a mechanic,
especially with Electro.
Like,
maybe we get a proper mono red storm deck. Yeah, I could see that.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are just as many, if not more, cards from Avatar. But
Yeah.
I'll be glad to see. Spoilers should start soon.
They should. And I will say I think that the meta is in a very, very healthy place. I will always, go to bed at night knowing that if a tempo deck or mid-range deck is the best deck in a format or the most present in a format, then I feel like your format's pretty healthy.
Yes, I agree. I do think combo is a little lacking.
I agree with that.
I think combo is probably the most or least represented archetype currently, but I don't necessarily think that that's a problem. I'm sure something will come along, or
something will break.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the meta feels really good right now. If you're coming across this and you're not familiar with Duel Commander, please dip your toes in. The water's fine.
Meta feels great.
Meta feels really good.
Brewing feels great. RC being transparent feels great.
The fact that we're getting this kind of information off the official Duel Commander channel itself is such a breath of fresh air. I mean, I cannot state that enough. That's awesome. I firmly believe that we will see hybrid mana brought about in the vision of which Wizards created it into our format.
That was just a bait. They don't care.
They don't care
about
what you say. They're going to give Mark Rosewater as much runway as he needs.
We're getting hybrid mana. Let's just be real.
Let's be honest here. So, like we said, I'm excited to experiment with Golbez and Luris and Thopter. Excited to see Drew cringe every time I play a card. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us. Let us know in the comments below how you feel about the meta right now. I think it's great.
I'm having fun.
I'm having a blast playing this format.
All sorts of different decks. All feel very viable.
I'll just end on this. If you come to a Monday Night Locals here in Colorado, the odds that you're going to see, chances are there's probably going to be anywhere from 16 to 24 people in a room. And the odds of you seeing the same deck twice, maybe you might see Cloud twice, because everybody here in Colorado likes Cloud. But aside from that, I don't think you'll see the same deck twice. And I think you will see every macro archetype represented.
Yeah. Along with a lot of brews.
A lot of brews,
A lot of sweet brews.
A lot of sweet brews. So I'm Bo.
I'm Drew.
And we are Manafest Dread. Thanks for listening.
Be sure to give us a subscribe, check out this video, and stay beautiful.